are live.
Told me like God, I'm this beat, take it straight to the top.
Let's get it going. This broadcast, we have music in the background. I believe you are already proud. You love me everywhere. I need to see your promise. Your promise everlasting. And I want to do when you say that again. When you say that again. All right, let's get with it. What we're going to do on this broadcast is go over and address some video content related to the topic. And what we found that is available online in relation to these topics and critique some of the content as we come across it. And so, what are we critiquing it for? We're not critiquing the information that's provided by others to criticize them. We are critiquing it to make sure that we check and verify the information before we consider that as valid or we relay that information to others as being valid. Okay? And I was subscribed to this particular channel, but I unsubscribed for one reason only. And that is because um, I don't subscribe to a lot of the things that the processes that they are providing information on. And so I just deemed that their content wasn't worth me subscribing to receive more and more content. And I'll show you why. Let's get started.
Yeah, and I don't know what it's. Tom says that even when you're going online, it's even slightly different there online. Yes. So,
yeah, but it's just too different. We're going to have to send in the paper if it doesn't exactly express what we want. But at least for the state in the 98, it's been
this, which is different from the name above, because
there's hardly any difference between them except in box 14. And it talks about if you're expecting to pay $1,000 or less in this calendar month, then check here. And if not, then you need to file this form or that form or so on and so forth. So that's the only difference I see between the two forms.
okay. Yeah, and I don't know what it's. Tom says that even when you're going online, it's even slightly different there online. Yes. So,
yeah, but it's just too different. We're going to have to send in the paper if it doesn't exactly express what we want. But at least for the state and the 98, it's been close enough so that I did get the numbers.
Oh, you did get the numbers. So you've done this SS4 already?
Not this SS4 because they're not open on the weekend.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Did he put the XXX as just to keep the number private, or did it actually use the real Social Security number there? Because I thought since we have an estate EIN.
I'll go over that in a second, okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay, we'll go over on filling out the form, okay? First, the form is basically you're coming in as the legal name of entity or individual for whom the EIN is being requested. You're coming in as the individual banker, okay? So your name, semicolon, last name, whatever, individual banker / CFO. Then line 2 is going to be your trade name of the business, which is different from the name above, because now it's going to be the Patrick Devine Private Bank, Estate and Trust. There will be nothing in 3 or 5A or 5B, okay? We put our mailing address down in for our bank and everything.
Okay. Now, I'll begin my summation of this aspect of teaching and giving instructions. This particular video is based upon instructions given to fill out this form, okay? And according to what's being taught is that this form needs to be filled out for people who are creating a trust entity, okay? So those who are trying to access the certificate via a trust and not understanding that you cannot access somebody else's trust in that manner, the way that you're going about it, okay? And you're saying it's yours, but if it's yours, then you would create it, you would know what the perimeters of it is and all of that. And since you do not know what the perimeters are and you're only assuming that based upon what other people have said, then many of these processes are based upon assumptions. Please understand that. It's based upon an assumption that has not yet been proven. This is why even with Patrick Devine, this is content that was extracted from teachings of Patrick Devine, okay? And that's what he named himself, Patrick Devine. And so that is his name. That's just his name. But the name Patrick in St. Patrick is also an ideology that comes along with an April Fool, okay? An apparent fool that what April Fool is. It's an apparent fool, okay? And it's obvious that you're being fooled and you allow yourself to be fooled, that makes you an apparent fool, okay? and or foolish person, right? Okay. So when people are following all of these different processes, this is why I keep saying you are considered a minor. Listen to how he talked to these men. These are men he's talking to. And he's talking to them as if they were children. Now, they are supposed to be um, filling out documents and doing things like they're grown and they're mature, and then they're allowing another adult male to speak to them in a manner like he has custody or parental control over them. Okay? And it's nothing wrong with Mr. Patrick Devine taking authority when he see that the people that is asking for information are likened unto minors. Okay? You're likened unto minors. And so he's not wrong for doing that. But please understand that as long as you lack understanding, someone, anyone, has the authority to take authority over you in this manner. If you have equivalent understanding and or knowledge about what's going on, then they can speak in this manner as much as they like, but it's not applicable to you. It no longer applies to you. You know, that can go right over my head. I'm like, who he talking to? You know, he don't hold enough knowledge or information about this content for me to endure any kind of verbal abuse from him. Because I have not seen any results from his procedures or anybody that follow his procedures. I have not seen any results. I haven't. I've just seen a lot of followers being followers and repeating the pattern of followership. Aside from, I believe, Miss Jackson, there's a channel. Her name is Ms. M.Z. Jackson. M.Z. Jackson. Ms. Jackson. She's unique in that nature. When the spelling is not M.S., it's M.Z. Jackson. In her channel, I know I haven't covered the content on her channel like I have these, and that it is because I do have some of the videos included in the playlist on our channel from her channel. But I like to go through things and explain before I just throw it out there and be responsible with the information. And she deep with it. Yeah, she not gonna just tell you fill out this document, fill out that document. She's gonna take the time, unlike Patrick Devine. He just tell you something and pretty much hope you see it. I mean, demand for you to see it the way he see it. And a lot of the things that he's saying, the reason people keep asking is because the shit don't add up. That's why. And if I was in his one of his groups and he did that to me, I would stand up and say, look, we trying to get some clarity here, because whether you know it or not, it may be clear in your head the way you saying it. But as far as you relaying the knowledge and information, you having a misfire, because that shit don't add up what you saying. You went to the Confederacy and came back and all of these wars, and then they made an agreement and see what the happened was and all that shit about the Confederacy and all that kind of stuff and treaties and all of that and what happened when you may have read documentation to verify everything that you said, but you made no reference to those specific documents for us to verify and check and verify what you're saying. Okay? And because for those that are watching that are like me, we don't want to be following what nobody just said. We need to see some documentation of what you claiming. All right, for us to base our belief and understanding on what you're saying, especially when people already have a false understanding of things and they trying to get the right understanding. They don't need another false understanding in its place. They're looking for the truth. They seeking for the truth. And so we're trying to make sure that it's provided here in their search. When they zetoing and looking for the truth, that they have a platform that they can encounter that. And so just hurling out stuff and telling people just do what I say is unacceptable for a leader. It's unacceptable. And I don't consider that type of behavior to be any type of leadership. Okay? And it seems apparent to me that something is wrong if you do not want to explain yourself and where you're coming from, especially when you're presenting new information to the person. You know, it's going to take for you, it's just like a new product. If you have a totally new inventive product that you're introducing to the world, then you can't just say, buy my product. I got a new product, buy it. It'll help you. You got to let us know what your product is, how it works. It's new to us, so we don't know how your product works. And so we need a little guidance on and a little explanation on how your product works. And that so easily makes sense. Like, why you can't get that? Why you telling us why we can't understand, acting like we can't understand a complex system? When you can't understand that you can explain a complex system complex in order for simple people to understand the simplicity of it. You got to explain it simple if it's simple. You're not explaining it simple. Whether you know it or not, none of these men had the guts enough to stand up to your ass. Well, a couple of them, I heard one man say, look, we trying to get an understanding. And he went off on him. And, well, he calmed down a little bit one time. He calmed down a little bit and tried to do what he called explaining. But all he did was repeat something that was not clear and concise over and over again, as if that clarified what he said. That is not clarification. That is not explanation. To repeat the same version of an understanding the same way. You have to create another version. This is why you have the different versions of the Bible, because some people don't understand the King James Version. And so they revert to other versions, the Amplified and the New King James and all these other revisions or a different take on what the translation of the original works was, okay? And in that regard, this is what I consider this channel, the Queen Candy version of the Bible, okay? It is a revision of the Bible. Revision mean you see it a different way. That's what vision means. You see, that's what vision is, right? The optical imagery of, that's what vision is. The description of vision is, in its simplest form, it's the optical vision of or perception of existence and or manifestation, okay? And so, what is it a manifestation of? A creation of an entity or a thing. It's many times referred to as a thing, okay? And so, whatever you create is a thing. Your children, everything is a thing. You created a thing. What was that thing? The thing is referred to as a child or an offspring. But whatever you refer to that thing as, it is a thing, and you created it. And we call it a child, when you recreate yourself through joining with another being, okay? Another of your kind, the opposite sex or gender of your kind. And so I say of your kind because other animal species have kinds. And we are of a different kind of species. And so they also have male and female of their species. And so when you're referring to human beings as a species, that is the correct word to reference it by. Okay? When you're speaking of human beings, and in the other broadcast we had previous to this one, the man said that he don't even classify himself as a human being. Okay? And that's his choice. And it's most likely because someone gave him a definition of what a human being is. And a human being is a spirit being, okay? It's not acting, it's being. That's natural law. But he claims that he's defaulting to natural law and at the same time rejecting the nature of natural law. And the nature of natural law is human being. Being human. Just be. The freedom of being. That's in its rawest form, natural law. If you're referring to yourself as a natural being. It's not an act. It's a being. And so you're acting like something else if you're not a being. That means you're acting like you're something else. And that's okay for you to do. But for those who are actually gods, we can't follow these processes of people who are lower nature. Lower nature. they're reducing themselves to a confused state, a state of confusion, with which they expect to get clarity. Okay? This is what I mean by a lower nature. Because only a lower nature would drive you. It's not an attraction. It's a difference in an attraction. It's driven by fear. It's a driving, draining nature of the lower nature. So in everything it is and everything it does, all of its processes are defective in that manner. And what I'm saying is that all of the Patrick Divine followers, you must understand that if you are following these processes, that if you don't understand what he talking about, then he ain't talking. None of that information applies to you. It's not applicable. That's the reason you don't understand it. You're not mature enough to even be filling out these papers. Not because you know what these papers mean and this and that and this and that. But if you already is at the point of filling it out and you asking these type of questions, then that means you wasn't ready to fill out none of these forms at all. You wasn't ready to submit none of these type of documents. You don't have a private bank. You don't know anything about banking. So, getting a trust and trying to follow these processes, and not on now one of these processes have I heard them speak on or give any kind of fiduciary responsibility instructions with these filling out these type of documents. That means somebody, including Patrick Divine, is being careless with disseminating this information. Now, he will tell you have to be careful, and this is for this and this is for that. But at the same time, are you not understanding that if the people that are asking you the type of questions that they're asking shows that they babies? Just based on that, I can tell that they babies. When he does the question and answer, I can tell by the questions you asking. You still a baby that you have no business filling out these documents. And that's how people go to jail, and then they want to blame the person on YouTube that they got the information from. But all the while, they steadily telling you that these documents is for somebody else. And you placed yourself in that position, not understanding the responsibility that go with the right. And see, like this dude said, I believe Patrick Divine was the only human being who was willing to give us this level of information. And when he would ask people if they had any questions, they gave me the impression they were scared to ask questions. Wow. Because he would nip off your head if you ask a question. It was a shame, because asking questions would have helped others understand this complex process. Wow, they said exactly what I just got through saying. So that's confirmation. And I didn't see that prior to. I'm just speaking. And see how truth confirms itself. It always does. That's the law. And this commenter said, I, like many of you, am so thankful to have found men who are willing to share the most pertinent information in relation to one's freedom and financial foundation. And so that person just looked like they saying something nice to get a bunch of likes and comments. I don't got time for that kind of shit. We need the truth here. Peeling back the layers of redemption flow. Huge props to the creator for laying out the redemption flow stages, but a few critical gaps could leave many stuck in limbo. Exactly what I said. A lot of critical gaps. Too many critical gaps. And so whoever this was, commenter, he outlined some issues that he in there. One, skipping the pre-charge. Prep the video, jump straight to closing the SSN conduit. But you need to first establish a security agreement and rebut the presumption of abandonment. That is so true. And see, I understand and know what this comment means, but even this comment is so coded with people who know what's going on. But that's not who's presenting the information. Neither is this plain enough for somebody who reading it can understand. No presumption, rebuttal equal no foundation to charge. Exactly. That's the common law. Underestimating proper presentation. Yes, you got to have proper presentation. Merely presenting your documents isn't enough. You must serve them in the right venue, public versus private registry, and in correct order, or the courts will treat them as unripe attempts. Oh man, this person knows something right there. I can tell by the word he used about it not being ripe. He either is a lawyer that is also familiar with common law and not enforceable entries, or he is someone like me who has gone beyond the surface learning of these video content providers and dug deeper and got some more sounder understanding. And so he itemized this. Number 3, forgetting the equity trigger. Yes, equity doesn't flip on a single filing. It sure does not. You have to have title and deed. You have to have title and deed. You have to have deed and title. Equity does not flip on a single filing. This is what I'm trying to explain to people who steal ideas. You don't get to be the owner of that because you said you was the owner of it. Even your name. You don't even know if or understand the importance of having a unique name. People are not, they're changing their names, but they really don't understand why they're doing it. That's why some people are doing it that should not be doing it. If you already had a unique family name, then you need to hold fast to the inheritance of that name. And don't give up your inheritance. That's how people steal your birth right. by getting you to abandon the name. Don't abandon the name. Claim the name. Don't abandon it. Claim it. Get a power of authority over it. People that's abandoning their name, it's because their name ain't shit. You don't need to abandon your name if your name is something. Stop following other people's processes, not even understanding what is going on. Even the people that you following, they follow somebody else. And so, like I said, again, at best, you got third-hand information that's been passed on and passed on. You've seen the demonstration of how the true facts can be lost in the game of what they call it, gossip. Okay, and in the game of gossip, what you do is you whisper something in one person's ear, and then they're supposed to repeat it exactly what you said to the next person in the line. Okay, and in that game, what it shows is by the time it gets all the way around the circle, people in the group that's playing the game, and the last person says what was supposed to be said in the first place, is totally different than what it started out as. People done retranslated it and made it into something totally different than what was originally said. And that game demonstrates a profound truth in our reality, is that people perceive things. It's not that they're lying, but people perceive what was told to them in a different way. That's why secondhand knowledge is not verifiable. So third-hand knowledge is nothing but gossip, hearsay. The court calls hearsay, and that's what this commenter is referring to. How when he said how the courts will treat you, because we can definitely highest health. We definitely, look like he's subscribed to some good channels too. All right. And he said you got to peel back them layers. That's a lot of layers, what I call dimensions, referred to as dimensions. He's referring to the conduit, the social security number, as being a conduit. See, those are words referencing energy. And you'll see videos about transmitting utilities. And he said you first need to establish your security agreement and rebut the presumption of the contract, that you abandon the contract. And so people who are doing processes, the so-called get out of the system, you have not, if you have not properly rebutted the assumption is still there. And this is what he means by proper presentation. Proper presentation of your documents. Because merely presenting documents is not enough. You must serve them in the right venue. Serving them, what he means by serving your documents is, in the common law, is referred to as acceptance or delivery. Okay? And delivery occurs, a service occurs at the moment that if you mail it, from the moment it was released out of your hand and placed into the mail, that is considered as an intent, okay? The intent to serve. Based on that intent to serve, your actions, based on your actions and intent to serve, by placing that instrument in the mail, you effected a transmission of energy, all right? And you sent it out. It's like sending out a signal, okay? And when you did that, you placed into motion an act, okay? By placing it in the mail, it proves that you were intending to do whatever it is you wrote on that document that you was intending to do. If it was to create a contract, then that action has been documented as intent. That is the reason documents are effective as soon as you place it into the mail carrier's possession and they put a stamp on it, okay? From that point on, you are not responsible for the message getting to the person. So the mail carrier, which would be the post office or UPS, whatever mail carrier you chose. And I'll get into email carriers and text message carriers, because those are also carriers of messages, of instruments, of financial instruments and or contracts. So in that regard, when you send an email, that email is not considered immediately as received, but it is considered as an intent to communicate from the moment that you sent it, okay? It is not effective to act upon in court, to use, like if you want to use it as evidence against somebody and say, I sent them a message on such and such a day, and it has to be, there's a statute of allowing them time to receive that email, that's allowed, okay? Now, when you send a fax, that fax goes straight through to their machine or whatever receptor that they have at the end. And so if you send a fax, the delivery is considered instantaneous, automatically, as equal to a mail, because even if that person don't get that mail today, it is very likely that they will receive that mail. It's more likely, okay, and more calculatable that they will receive that mail, okay? And with the fax, it's even more so calculatable because the fax goes straight to whatever your fax receptor is. And if that's the fax number you gave to receive communication, then nobody's trying to accept no excuses from you that you didn't receive that when it went straight to your machine. And we received a letter that said that you received it, and because it printed out. When the person received it, it printed out on their side a copy. a Xerox copy, and it has even a stamp on it that says they received it. And so now they don't have no excuse or way out of saying, I did not receive this. This is why a lot of corporations and stuff got away from having a fax number, because they want to evade responsibility and accountability. And so many of the sovereigns, people who are understanding that more so about documents, it don't have to be people who are claiming to be sovereign. It could be people who are just wanting to understand the system of things, and they're wanting to process paperwork. Okay? And so many of the processes that people will teach you, they won't even recommend that you send emails. Most people won't, and they don't themselves, because emails is not as effective as the old school dirt, what I call old school dirt works, you know. I call it dirt works because it's the old way, you know, the old school, write it in the, even before they had tablets, you would, you know, they called writing in the sand, you know. And so before they could figure out how to etch understanding in a tablet, even in stone, or use a whole hall and so forth, they would do that in tapestry and have stuff woven in tapestry. It's where you get the concept of the power of whole cloth. Okay? It's almost like branding your skin. Like people brand themselves with tattoos. Okay? And you're branding yourself with somebody else's artistry. And you become a walking billboard for the person or persons who design your tattoos. You're not representing yourself. That's a deception that you have of yourself. And unless you are the one that designed the art, handed it over to the artist and said, draw this on my arm or wherever you chose the spot for that design of artistry, and branded yourself with your own design, then you are not displaying anything artistic about yourself. You are displaying artistry of the inkstress, whoever, I call it an inkstress, whoever is the one that, they have a word for it, the stenographer, the artist, the person who is creating the art. That's their intellectual property. And say, for example, if they got some type of tattoo book of tattoos that, you know, it's ideas for them. Well, that's that's again third hand communication, because that came from another artist. That's not even their designs. They're tattooing you. The artistry is them being able to duplicate that by hand. That's part of their art and part of somebody else's art mixed together, but it's not yours. Your body was the art. Your body was the canvas. You allowed that artist to use your body to canvas their work. You should be getting paid for that. Otherwise, you're just a branded cow, basically. Not basically, that's exactly what you are. That's why the Bible said, don't do that. Don't brand yourself like a cow. People don't even remember when it used to be a bad thing to get tattoos. And when people would look at you and you had tattoos on, they would look down upon you. Like you was not normal. And the reason they did that, and I'm not saying that people should look down upon any one person for any discriminatory reason, but what I am saying is that we need a dividing line in our society as to having an understanding of what is acceptable civilized behavior. This is where you get the word civil law, because it's based upon a civilized people, okay? And what could be considered as normal behavior in a civil society. And branding yourself like a cow is not considered as a person with that's intellectually competent, and that don't have anything to do with books. That just means that somebody who doesn't have any value for their own body, than to mark, just take a pen and put a design, a permanent design on their body to the point where they would go into under the skin and place a foreign substance there, right? Because the ink is foreign to the body, all right? And you place a foreign substance there, okay? And the ink gets into the body, into the bloodstream. And there's more than what you think. Oh, I just got a tattoo. Well, there's more going on there than what you understand, because you're just a baby. We back to that. Because you're a minor. You don't understand what you actually did to yourself. You branded yourself. We don't have to keep going back over that. Okay? You branded yourself like a cow. And a lot of people who do that, they get an addiction to the tattoos. And they start getting all kinds. And at first, the first tattoo meant something. The second tattoo meant something. But after about the third one, you ask them what that means. I don't know. I was drunk. I got that with me and my girls. Me and my boys. And then it comes. All the other stories after that relate to some type of peer pressure. A crash dummy move, what I call it. You did it because you thought it was cool. Crash dummy move. And so that's the reality of it. And that's the reality of it. And you're creating an addiction to getting the ink fix. And you get another one and get another one. That's why you see people tattoos all in their face and they look crazy like a raccoon. And then you see people, because you're branding yourself like an animal. Um, guy I used to go with. I mean, he loved me to death. He tattooed my name on his stomach and then married somebody else. How stupid is that? Okay, this is what I'm saying. And you might say, well, he tattooed your name. I was I was happy about it, but I wasn't. I told him, why did you do that? Because he did it as a surprise to me. So that was sweet. But at the same time, it's like, if you really loved me like that, you should just marry me. Or I believe in common law marriage. So we was already living uh, common law. And so what I was saying is we should just do some type of ceremony and make it public. That's all. But in his own world, penitentiary people to go to jail and stuff like that, he went to jail and he got that tattoo. He paid a lot for that because it was all over his stomach. He had a large tattoo of my name all across his stomach, abdomen area. Okay, and it's still there, and he's married. He just got married, on paper married, to someone else, and he's still crazy about me. So what kind of confusion and chaos is going on there? All right, it is I'm not telling my personal experience just to tell my business. What I'm trying to get is a relatable understanding to you of how people make choices and do things, and it just don't make sense. It don't make sense at all. None of it adds up. And everything they do after that don't add up. The same person I told you got the tattoo of my name that married somebody else on paper is the same person who got tattoos all in their face that look like a raccoon. And he's a nice looking guy. He was. Till he started putting tattoos all in his face and under his eye and stuff. And is he branded by society? And once he started branding himself, he just got addicted to branding himself. None of it has any meaning. That goes to show you that none of it really have. I don't care what that person say. Oh, I got this because this mean this, and I got this because this mean. They a damn lie. Oh, none of that shit don't got no meaning to it. Because if it had meaning, you'd have done more than just tattooed yourself. You'd have had, what I mean by that, say for example, with the guy, he wouldn't have just tattooed himself. He would have married me. He would have mated me to himself. And he did not. Okay? That's the example. Now, I will say this. He did want to be with me. I left him. Okay? But I left him because he was not being decisive enough. And he went on and married the other girl because he didn't see any opportunity to get me back. And he was too arrogant to come and get me back. And so he wanted to prove to me that he could be happy, and that I shouldn't have left him because now he's going to live a happier life with somebody else. But that gorilla that he is trying to show me that he living better with is not showing me anything, because I would never refer to another woman as a gorilla. but he didn't get another woman. He got a gorilla. And that the thing that he wound up with only proves my point that when I told him that it don't get no better than me, he stopped at that because he already know for himself it wasn't gonna get no better than me. Absolutely not. You better pick whatever you can dig up. Whatever you can dig up. And that's exactly what he did. Whatever he could dig up, he dug up the dead and married that. Okay. Gonna come talk about, yeah, I'm happy with my marriage. And try to call itself making me jealous. And I was laughing because I was saying, baby, well, you just go on right ahead and be happy with your marriage. Okay? Because you ain't got nothing I wanted. What people do not understand, why do the conversation about documents end up with relationships? Because these documents form contractual relationships. Okay? And what people need to understand is mating, marital relationship, and what it has to do with the whole ecosystem and how it works. That no, you cannot be successful in a relationship where you're only with that person out of spite to somebody else that you really still have feelings for. And I see men doing this all the time. And y'all stupid and foolish for thinking that that woman is over there thinking, man, I shouldn't have left him. Because she not. She laughing at your ass. She laughing at your woman you got now. She laughing at you. Okay? That's just like my kid's father. He cheated when he married the girl he cheated me with. But I'm laughing at them both. Because it didn't hurt me for them to be together. They deserved to be together. They both was not clean people. And so they were more mated than me and him. So I'm not mad at all. I don't have no ill feelings of the people that I left behind because I had a legitimate reason to leave them behind. They didn't match my energy. And when you fill out documents of people who don't match your energy, you bring your energy down. You bring your energy down when you file documents that don't apply to you. You bring your energy down. Stay put. Learn first. Merely present documents is not enough. You must serve them right and to the right venue. It's got to go to the right person. Sometimes it needs to go to the corporation. Sometimes certain documents need to go to the federal entity that governs that particular agency. And if you don't know what that means, you certainly shouldn't be filling out these type of documents. And they should be done in correct order. See what I'm saying? There's an order to this. And so for him to say that the courts will treat them as unripe, that means it's not enforceable. Talking about vineyards, unripe vineyards. You might have a case, but you didn't present it properly. Forgetting the equity trigger This documentation is forgetting what he means by forgetting. It means it didn't include the trigger of equity. Does it help you understand about where equity, the jurisdiction of equity and commerce kick in? You must complete the entire sequence: charge, close, file, assign, seal, before the trust truly activates. Stop at step 3 and you never clear the conduit in equity's eyes. Which step in the redemption flow felt most confusing when you first tackled it? Spotted other blind spots here. Drop your answers below and let's sharpen this process for everyone. Oh yeah. Man, you are doing the Lord's work. Okay. Now, that man said all of that and not one person. He got 6 likes. This is what I hate about just a thumbs up like. Okay. Is that a like is not a response. He said, drop your answers below and let's sharpen this process for everyone. That was an opportunity for people to put their 2 cents in and get their own perspective and put their own perspective so that it looks like he's very knowledgeable. He could have helped some of the people in the comment section that are asking questions underneath this answer.